Humble Soul, man. We checking back in. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so ASAP and hit the like button, man, and drop a comment. All of that is greatly appreciated. Let's get into this video though. 100.
What'd you name yourself C Murder for?
You know me, I grew up in the Project Calliope.
You done seen a lot of it.
I done seen a lot of it.
I'm not trying to actually hang in the hood and do and be out, but it's just me. I can't change it. So I just gotta do this, man. I just gotta be straight up, do me, be me. And plus, you bucked on me, I'm a buck back. And that's what they know too, you heard me?
Corey Miller, known to many of you as C Murder, has spent more than a decade in prison.
In 2002, 16-year-old Steve Thomas was killed at a nightclub in Jefferson Parish. Days later, Miller was arrested and charged for the killing with second-degree murder. In 2003, a jury found him guilty of that charge, but the judge overturned the conviction. In 2009, during the retrial, Miller was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Before we get into the situation, man, that had C Murder locked up fighting for his freedom, let's shine some light on his background. You know, C Murder, he's a representative of the NO, the 3rd Ward in particular, uptown New Orleans. He was raised in the Calliope projects with his family. You know, he jumped into the music game after getting back from the military in the early 90s as part of the group The Real Untouchables, better known as True.
I'm C Murder, one of the 4 members of True TRU, and it consists of me, Silk, Master P, and Big Ed, you know what I'm saying, who is in California right now. And this group came about, right? Started off with my brother P, Master P. He started his thing on his own. He wasn't even in the rap, you know what I'm saying? And he started this company, and he had an idea he wanted to be in the rap game. And the name of him and his establishment was The Real Untouchables, True.
We independent, black owned, but we family, you know what I'm saying? Silk, that's my brother, you know what I'm saying? C Murder, that's my brother. We all one big family, the whole True, we the cousins, partners, we done grew up together, you know, and I think that's what make it different than the rest of the labels that out there.
You know, throughout the 90s and early 2000s, C dropped a handful of solo albums on No Limit, as well as the group albums with True. You know, one of his biggest albums was Trapped in Crime, which featured his hit Down for My with Snoop Dogg and Magic. Around the time of him dropping Trapped in Crime, he decided to start his own label, True Records, and began building his own personal team. So he was in the process of giving a lot of up-and-coming artists from New Orleans an opportunity through True. But before he could really get his movement off the ground, his career and his life would take a sharp turn.
Master P's brother C Murder is wanted for attempted murder in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
The first major incident took place in Baton Rouge, less than 2 hours away from New Orleans. And one night, you know, C and some of his homies decided to go to this spot in BR called Club Rags. This was reportedly on the night of August 14th of 2001. You know, C Murder and his people pulled up to Club Rags. He tried to go into the club without being searched, and this led to him having a disagreement with the security guard there, as well as the owner of the club. You know, he got upset when they wouldn't allow him to go in without being searched. He had a gun on him, and surveillance footage eventually came out showing C pulling out his pistol and trying to shoot it multiple times at the bouncer, as well as at reportedly the owner of the club, but his gun ended up jamming. He didn't shoot anybody, fortunately. He ended up fleeing the scene. You know, after that, a warrant was issued for his arrest. He turned himself in and he was charged with multiple counts of attempted first-degree murder. But he ended up being released on a 6-figure bond. Less than 6 months later, you know, on January 12th of 2002, C Murder and his entourage went to the Platinum Club in Harvey, Louisiana, a small city outside of New Orleans. Unlike the situation in BR where he wasn't able to get in the club without being searched, you know, this time when he made it to the Platinum Club, they let him in without having to go through the metal detectors or get searched. There was a rap contest taking place at the club that night. 16-year-old Steve Thomas was one of the people performing in the contest. And when he got off stage, he ended up bumping into somebody in C's entourage, which led to an altercation and ultimately him getting jumped.
They said it was a rap battle, and my brother supposedly out-rapped whomever C Murder artist was or whoever his artist was going to be. And then that's where the argument started from.
The security guard at the club tried to intervene, tried to stop C and some of the other people from beating up the teenager, man. That's when shots let off, you know. And everybody in the club is estimated to be around 150 to 200 people. They start scattering, running outside of the venue. Steve Thomas, man, he was left there on the floor with a gunshot wound to the chest. He was transported to West Jefferson Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. After the unfortunate situation, you know, C's name started to come up as being a potential suspect. And just weeks later, he was arrested at the House of Blues for disturbing the peace and criminal trespassing. He had been previously banned from the location, so he wasn't supposed to be, you know, at the establishment. So after his arrest, a warrant was issued that tied him to the Platinum Club incident where Steve Thomas was killed. In February of 2002, he was indicted for murder and eventually put on trial for second-degree murder. A key witness, the club security guard at Platinum, Darnell Jordan, he testified that he saw a flash from C. Murder's hand, implying that, you know, the bullet that killed Steve Thomas came from C. Murder's gun. Another witness, Kenneth Jordan, said he saw C and some others, man, go around metal detectors and not get searched, and also identified C. Murder in a photo lineup. You know, fast forward to September of 2003, C. Murder was convicted of second-degree murder.
Yo, was young, yeah, they got me down here for a second-degree murder, yeah, something I ain't doing when they tripping on me like that because of my name, my status, my character, you feel me? I feel like they've been out to get a nigga, you see what I'm saying? So they trying to get me nuts. This shit corrupt over here, I'm in Jefferson Parish. This shit corrupt as a motherfucker, you feel me? So all I gotta do now is fight to get my way up out of here, you heard me? Shit like I went to the club trying to have a little fun, enjoy myself, see my surroundings and my fans, you hear me? So I can feel for what's going on out there and lay that gangster music. These bitches come up in, kick me and hit me up with a motherfucking whole murder charge, you hear me? So I'm fighting for my life right now.
Man, they want to send a message out to everybody. Look, we got C. Murder. We can get any black man that we want. They got me for a second-degree murder, something I didn't do. You know, it hurt, you heard me, it's because it's like, I'm guilty for I'm innocent.
Around 3 years after his conviction, C. Murder was granted a new trial when it was revealed that prosecutors withheld key evidence and tampered with witnesses.
A lot of people on the other side misunderstand me, thinking, you know, they hear the name C. Murder, they hear my rap sheet, my records. And there's a lot of people out there that just feed off of that, like district attorneys and judges and stuff like that, that blows shit out, blows stuff out of proportion.
In 2006, C. Murder was actually released from jail on house arrest to await a retrial in his murder case. He continued to record and release music and also published his first book called Death Around the Corner.
Yeah,
How old were you when you saw your first murder?
Probably about 10. Yeah, it's real though, your dad. You learn from it.
What'd you learn being 10
You learn not
years
to
old?
be in those areas, in them type of situations.
You know, in March of 2009, C. Murder pleaded no contest to attempted second-degree murder charges from the 2001 incident in BR at Club Rags. Just weeks before the 2009 retrial for his murder case, Juan Flowers, a childhood friend of C. Murder from the Calliope, came forward and claimed responsibility for firing the fatal shot that killed Steve Thomas. At that time, Flowers was already incarcerated, serving a life sentence in Georgia for an unrelated murder, but his confession was challenged. Another person tied to C, Dwayne Wango Cobbins, who was also an artist, you know, on C's record label and a gangster out the Calliope. He told law enforcement reportedly that he saw C. Murder bring a small gun into the club. He admitted that he didn't see who fired the shot, but, you know, he knew that C had a gun that night when everything took place. Nevertheless, after 2 weeks of testimonies, man, the jury found C. Murder guilty in a 10-2 decision. You know, he was convicted again of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. And this was back in August of 2009. In that same month, he was sentenced to 10 years for the attempted murder incident in Baton Rouge at Club Rags.
Again, rapper C. Murder will spend the rest of his life in jail. But will today's controversial verdict be overturned by an appeals court? WDSU News reporter Travers Mackle is live at 10 to tell us why some say yes.
Well, Chris, C. Murder's family and friends say they believe this conviction will be tossed out after they appeal, but one legal analyst says not so fast. A jury found C. Murder, whose real name is Corey Miller, guilty of second-degree murder for killing 16-year-old Steve Thomas at a West Bank nightclub in 2002. Miller's family cried foul after the verdict was read.
When I first come home, Peanut used to run with my cousin BJ. So Peanut was one of the guys, the witnesses whom everyone's saying changed their story. So he comes to me personally and he said, hey, this is what happened, and tells me exactly what happened. That it was a fight that at the end of the fight, C. Murder raised up his shirt while looking at him as the bouncer. And he was like, hey, you got him, you got him. And he was like, okay, okay. And he's looking like this, but steady raising his shirt, and then stands over him and shoot him.
Yeah.
And then his best friend, Wango, he the one who put all the dots together.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing that Peanut said. And those two don't run in the same circle.
Right.
One was a football player. One was a real gangster.
Right.
So with Peanut telling me what he told me, and then Wango saying what he said and taking a plea trial, I'm like, well, this part has to be true.
You know, when it comes to C. Murder's life sentence for second-degree murder, the case had no real evidence tying him to anything. You know, no surveillance footage linking C to shooting a gun, no DNA, no confession from C. He always maintained his innocence. You know, everything pretty much came down to the testimonies of witnesses. You know, and several of those people recanted their statements and claimed that they were pressured by police to say that C. Murder was the one who was responsible for the murder of Steve Thomas, man. Despite the contradictions and the recantations from different witnesses, a federal judge upheld C. Murder's life sentence.
What you think about his current situation? I've heard multiple people say that he wasn't the person who actually took that.
I think we all know that.
That teenager's life, man.
We all know that. Look.
Well, what you think about
it? It just shows you the system. I mean, we all know that he ain't do it, but it shows you the system. The system of this shit is different, bro. Like, motherfuckers want your ass, they get you. You just clear as day, bro, because everybody in the world knows he didn't do that shit. You think that, like, these conversations, like, it don't even be making no sense to have because the shit be clear as day. Like, you see motherfuckers, witnesses recant their statements and all that kind of shit and all that, right? And they tell you why they did it and all this kind of shit, but nothing don't move on it.
Multiple people, including his brother, Master P, have said that C. Murder had one foot in the street and one foot in the music industry, and that's what placed him in a situation that has him fighting for his freedom and currently serving a life sentence. A lot of people have expressed the fact that he truly is innocent, but him sticking to that G code and not wanting to say who truly is the shooter is keeping him behind bars, man.
Why do people owe him when his friends has him incarcerated? That's the real reason he's incarcerated. When you go to the club and you convicted of a crime that somebody else commit because you with the wrong people, and then the people that's with you, you call them the cut boys, that's who taking care of your business while you locked up, they on the streets, and they all turned on you, and you say nothing about it. You never made a record about them. You never wrote a book about them turning on you. I mean, how is that real? How is that true? Because that's your word, true. They turned on you, bro. You could have been home with your family 18 years ago.
Let me tell you something about me. You ain't gonna never hear nothing come out my mouth further than sling at nobody else. Not even to save my own soul. That just ain't gonna happen. That's just the way I live. That's the way I come up.
To this day, you know, C. Murder maintains his innocence and the fight for his freedom continues. You know, on top of that, he's made multiple attempts to appeal his murder conviction, but he has yet to be successful and walk free from prison, man. You know, it's unfortunate all the way around. Condolences to the family of the victim, Steve Thomas. You know, thoughts and prayers to everyone involved and affected by this situation. If you enjoyed the video, man, be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment, share it, grab some merch. You know, if you want to support, check out the links in the description. If you want to tap in, man, do some work, shoot us an email or hit us on social media and all of that. Until next time, I'ma holler at y'all, man. 100.
It's my spot right here on Fairgate, Dad. That's where I live whenever I'm in a CP3. I ain't never left the day, but let's go upstairs and just chill for a minute. How many billionaires y'all know got a project? If I could keep the word, 9 minutes Let me give y'all a grand tour right quick today. Your life and food's dying quicker. Murders in the heart of every killer. Take a look. Rent, $75 a month, you know. I'll be scraping up trying to get that. Good to see that me in danger, cause I know I'm dying soon. 25 years incarcerated. You know, I feel safe, I feel comfortable. It's a place that I just want to be, you know. Jail trying to get paid, still on the rent. This is where I'm from, I was born here, raised here. Play basketball here. Muscle here.